Good afternoon. We are very sorry to start a little late, but the mayor did not realize that the distance was so much. So I would now request Captain Batra to please come up and welcome the mayor and deliver the welcome address. We will also introduce the deputy mayor to you.
The Deputy Mayor, Mr. Anthony Lewis, my friend, Consul General, friends, ladies and gentlemen, we are really honored, pleased, and happy to have you here and also join in this particular session. First of all, before I start anything else, let me introduce Mr. Anthony Lewis. He was born in Barcelona in 1965. He has a degree in business science, specialized in marketing and international trade, and has developed most of the professional career in private companies. So he is like one of you and me, but holds an excellent position now to make the city an excellent city, and of course in the government. He was General Secretary for the government of Catalina, and subsequently director of the Raymond Trias Fagas Foundation, currently deputy mayor for urban habitat, an area that includes urbanism, town planning, housing, infrastructure, environment, and urban services and ICT. He is also vice president to the Barcelona metropolitan area and consular for the city district of Les Cortes. He won the John Foster Essay Prize, the Prati Lareba Award for Journalist Articles, and the Crisel Award 2010. He is Senior Advisor for the Prince of Asturias Professorship of Spanish Studies of London School of Economics. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and let us welcome him to this. As far as Spain is concerned, it is no alien to us. We are very close to the country since 1956. There has been our relationship with them. Fourth largest economy in Europe. We have today trade of 3.6 billion euros. Among other things, we have some of the fashion houses of Spain come into the city. Lots of the ladies like, whether it is Zara or men like Massimo Dutti, and many, many others, Blanco and so on and so forth. Football is synonymous with this, and we were very happy. Recently, Barcelona beat Real Madrid, which is a team well known. Also recently, Celtic was, I think, beaten by Barcelona 6-1.
6-1, yeah.
6-1. Tremendous job done. Also, as you all know, that we have under 17 World Cup awarded football awarded to India, I think in 2017. We can cooperate a lot, and I'm sure Barcelona will help our teams come up to the world standards so that we can also host future sessions in this country. Known for its architectural design, we also have an architecture firm here, Ricardo, real estate, culture, art. We do hope in years to come they would bring more art and culture into the city, including some of the flamenco dances. Tourism. Everybody loves going to Barcelona. I personally have traveled to Barcelona, Madrid. I have also driven across from Barcelona to Valencia, to Malaga, to Mayas, to Algeciras, Sevilla, Granada, entirely by road in 2 weeks' time. And it was a tremendous experience, and I will encourage everybody to look at it. Also recently, as you know, Pramod Mittal, brother of Lakshmi Mittal, had his daughter Shrishti married in Barcelona. I believe they spent 60 million euros for that. And I must thank the city of Barcelona. It was well reported, and also said they assisted in that in a tremendous way. India is big for marriage, and I think you will have many, many more coming into your country and the cities. Wines, your wines are well known. We would like more of those. And this country is now growing at 30% per year. And there is no reason why we can't have more of your wines. Sustainability, you are well known for sustainability, smart cities, and I think as our population, urban population and the rural population is growing, we need more. Energy is becoming more difficult, and also you are a leader in that. So we hope that over the period of time you will teach us something, tell us more, and also tell us how well we can support you in the World Trade Center. Then IT, business is synonymous with India. At this point in time, I think a lot of our IT graduates are working with Spanish companies for Spain, Europe, and also South America. I was talking to Tata Consultancy. They are using a lot of Spanish work being done in Spain for Latin American countries and vice versa. So with that, I thank you for your visit. We look forward to hearing from you and give us guidance, and wherever as World Trade Center we can support you, please be rest assured that we will do so for a long time to come. Thank you. As a memento of our visit or his visit, we would like to present a small token of a book on India as well as tie of the World Trade Center. Our dear Consul General, here is Rupa Naya to present you a tie, so that next time when you're here and wherever you are, you remember World Trade Center. Thank you very much.
Is there a presentation that you're making? Is there a presentation, or would you just like to start?
I just speak. Yeah.
So now may I invite His Excellency, the Deputy Mayor of Barcelona, Mr. Anthony Vives, to please come up on stage and talk to us. Oh, sorry. Sorry. A special address by Mr. Garcia, the Consul General of Spain.
Mr. President, Deputy Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. Yes, Barcelona is the most beautiful and interesting town. In the 19th century, a new town was created, the straight streets, houses with chamfered corners, planned by Ildefonso Cerdá. At the end of the 20th century, particularly since the Olympic Games, Barcelona rebuilds its maritime coastline. But the Deputy Mayor shall tell you about Barcelona. I would like only to pay a tribute to the tradition of hospitality of Barcelona. All of you know Don Quixote, created by Cervantes. At the end of the novel, Don Quixote visits Barcelona, and for the first time in his life, he contemplates the sea. In Barcelona, he is defeated by the Caballero de la Blanca Luna, and the penalty is to return to his own village in La Mancha. in the chapter 72, Don Quixote, returning to his village, speaks on Barcelona and says, Barcelona, archivo de la cortesía, albergue de los extranjeros, hospital de los pobres, patria de los valientes, en sitio y en belleza única. Barcelona, the treasure house of courtesy, haven of strangers, asylum of the poor, home of the brave, unparalleled in location and beauty. And goes on. Y aunque los sucesos que en ella me han sucedido no son de mucho gusto, sino de mucha pesadumbre, los llevo sin ella solo por haber visto Barcelona. And, says Don Quixote, although the events that have happened to me are of very much sorrow, I endure them just for the pleasure of having seen Barcelona. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and the Deputy Mayor of Barcelona will explain better than myself why.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Executive Director, Vice Chairman, Senior Consul, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor being here this afternoon, being the first time I'm ever in Mumbai, and in fact, being the first time I'm ever in India. In fact, this is my first day in India. And even the Consul General was speaking about Barcelona through the words of Miguel de Cervantes. I think that in a way Cervantes was speaking on behalf of me, having my first impressions about Mumbai. The way in which you receive us, the way in which you treat us, the way in which you see such a gorgeous city with so many possibilities, with so many challenges, I have to say, is impressing all of us. So again, thank you very much for hosting us. This should be the first step of some other meetings that we should be holding together. I'm going to be very brief. I think that today, being the first time you see me, rather than filling up you with data and things that you can find in Google or anywhere in the internet, in Wikipedia or wherever, it is good that you listen to me to the reasons why the city of Barcelona has decided to take Mumbai and India as one of its strategical focuses. This is something that if you think about in the last couple of years, we are working abroad a lot. Barcelona is not a big city. Barcelona, though, I have to say, is perhaps one of the main hubs in the Mediterranean, for sure, the main port of the Mediterranean, for sure also the capital of what we could call the Mediterranean corridor, and the second largest city in Spain, though very much focused on industry, commerce, and of course something that makes us unique, the port, a little bit like you. There are not so many cities with port in this world. We figure out that there are many, but that's not true. There are not so many cities that have a port integrated in the economy of the city. Barcelona is one of these cities. But you know what? We are not very good at everything, but we are very good at one thing. And I think that in this field in which we are very good, there are common grounds in which we can work together. We are very good at making cities. Now that not many people is listening to me, I would say that perhaps we are the best in the world making cities. It is very difficult to find any other city in the world having the standards of quality of life and having the standards of social cohesion that Barcelona has got in the last 60, 70 years. This is not something that you build up in 10 years. The Consul General has mentioned the Olympic Games. It is a very good example on how we took advantage of something that you are going to go through also. These events have to help us out, not to hang a medal on your chest saying how good we are. That's bullshit. That's good for the politicians, like me, by the way. I am a politician. But that doesn't give nothing to the citizenship as far as you are not able to take those good things and pass them over to them, no matter if the citizenship is rich or poor. Or I would say it in the other way around. It matters a lot if what you do goes down to the poorest and then up to the richest. That's what we want to do. And that's what we try to do. But as we are not kids and we know that everything has to depend on the payback of the investments, we try to do it working with the private sector, which is, I think, one of our key success factors. I tell you, we are here because we want to bet in India, and we want India to bet in us. We are developing, I'm going to tell you, a couple of huge investments that we are going through. We are building the main railway station of Spain right now, which is going to be the biggest railway station in Europe. And we are looking for investing partners, and we are looking for other kinds of industrial partners. This railway station is accompanied by a housing operation that has got around 1.3 million square meters of roof. So there are many chances for people coming to Barcelona wanting to invest in hotels, offices, housing, and social housing. We are developing it with the Spanish government. The Spanish government owns a part of that land, and today I'm talking to you on behalf of the Minister of Public Works, Ms. Ana Pastor, who has commanded me to talk to you on behalf of her, because she's also very interested in making this operation possible with foreign investment. We are also developing a part of the waterfront of Barcelona. Barcelona is, if you haven't never been to Barcelona, one of the successes that we were able to yield in the last years was what we call the recovery of the sea for us. You've got a wonderful coast also, but the problem with our coast, with our sea, with our beaches is that we never saw them before. When I was a kid, there was a tiny bit of beach in Barcelona, but the rest was full of slums, like the ones you're having here, exactly the same. Almost, they were not as big as yours, but in a city in a metropolitan area of, let's say, 3.5 or 4 million people, almost 250,000 people lived in slums, in pure slums in Barcelona when I was born. And you've seen that I'm very young, so it wasn't the day before yesterday. So those slums were converted into the most impressive public space that you can imagine, thanks to a vision that went ahead 25 years' time, which means that you have to plan in advance what you want, and that you have to preserve something that people tend to forget. Those slums are full of people, and those slums are full of social relationships. And you might be building wonderful social housing, but depending on how you do things, you might be breaking wonderful social links. So you have to find the balance between how you treat those slums and what kind of public space you win. We did that, and thanks to that, we are working all over the world. We are working, for example, in Hong Kong. We were developing the Hong Kong waterfront with a Harbour, how do we call them?
Harbour Front Commission.
With the Harbour Front Commission of Hong Kong. We are working in Tianjin. We work in Hangzhou. But we work, for example, in Santiago de Chile, developing, helping the mayor of Santiago de Chile, Carolina Toa, to develop the center, the downtown of Santiago. We work in Quito. We start working in Quito. We are working in Lima. We work in Medellin. We're going to work in Bogota, helping the local regional development agencies to improve their water management, their sewage management, their energy management, and then all those people come to Barcelona to help us out. What I'm coming today to offer to you is the same as we do in China, and we've been working, as I tell you, in China a lot. We are developing our own waterfront, part of it that wasn't developed yet. We're converting a part of our old port into one of those trendy new quarters that's, by the way, it's going to be devoted to universities and in port activity, design, etc. And we need people to come and see, and we need people to come and invest on us. And of course, we'd like to come here and help you out in order to convert some of your areas, in which I see lots of possibilities, in which I see that you are undertaking impressive amounts of investment into areas that could become perhaps the most thrilling zones of Asia. Mumbai is the capital of industry and commerce of India. That's something that we all know. Barcelona is an industrial and commercial capital. We both have ports. Why couldn't we cooperate together? As I said before, this is the first time ever I'm here. This is the first time ever we all meet. I'd like to propose to you a follow-up of this meeting with representative of our Chamber of Commerce and our professional sectors. We would come to Mumbai to show the possibilities that you have to work with us in Spain and Southern Europe. And if you allow me, I would try to convince you to come to Barcelona and show yourselves what you can offer to us by doing that there. So I'd like to see the chances that we have of holding a meeting like this in Barcelona between Mumbai and Barcelona to talk about businesses and to talk common growth and common possibilities. That's what I wanted to say to you today. I think that now you are, there's time for Q&A. We can talk about exact possibilities of working together. We can talk about commercial common activities, commercial help that you might be getting if you came to Spain to work with us, or we might be talking about other possibilities that we have to working here. I think, as I said before, in cities that are growing as yours, our expertise in the city world might be also quite interesting to you. Thank you very much for listening to me, and now it's a Q&A session. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
For this Q&A session, may I request that you please introduce yourself before your question so that he can answer it adequately. Yes, everybody knows him. He is Narendra Nair. He is the chairman of Bombay First and one of the real persons who are trying to improve the city. So I think if his question is the first one, I am sure Bombay will go far. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for the introduction. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. In fact, I've been looking forward to your visit here. I heard from my colleagues. I work with Metropolis. I work with Mr. Gomes, who's head of the World City Summiting, and I was in fact a speaker at your first World City Summit a couple of years ago in Barcelona. And we were trying to think Mr. Gomes came and met me earlier this year for the possibility of my participating in the World City Summit this year. But it clashed with an equally important conference which I was organizing together with the European Union, the total European Union. And last month we had 35 representatives from the European Union, including mayors, deputy mayors, specialists, on 18-19 November. And I think your mayor was invited, but it clashed with the dates we couldn't come. I'm very interested to hear what you say, and I think I welcome your comments that you want to work with the city of Mumbai, and we would like to really do that. That is the message I took to Barcelona 2 years ago, and I said we should work on that. You have a lot to offer. I know I've been to Barcelona, I've seen your port development work, which is wonderful, and you've identified several areas like water, river, seafront development, and that's what we are looking at the moment here. We've identified with the World Bank something invested of $60 billion in infrastructure, which covers cross-section, waste management, water, the water as such, water transport, port development, not the port development, but the using of the port land for the benefit of the city. And then we're talking at the moment to the chairman of the port trust to see how we can work that out. So we welcome what you mentioned several cities that you are working in Hong Kong and in South America, and I would say why not Bombay? And we should look at that. So I think there's a lot of things we can do, and I also know that you were the ones who won from the Singapore World City Summit. Barcelona got the prize 2 years ago. I was there at that. I was also speaker at the first World City Summit in Singapore. We done it. I chaired an organization called Bombay First. It's like London First. Very much modern on London First. The same vision, same challenges, same opportunity. And we also want to see what the vision for the city should be. For the first time, we've done a 40-year vision plan for the city, or for a metropolitan region. And that plan is done by, after international tendering, by Singapore consultants, Urbana, which identified several areas. I think there are areas where we could work together. Barcelona could bring a lot of your expertise. We don't want to reinvent the wheel here. We like to see what you are doing, what we can do, and vice versa, what we can offer you also. Equally on the smart city thing, we are planning a conference in Bombay also, and I talked to Mr. Gomes also, and we like to see how you and we could cooperate. So I will not take all the floor long, because I could talk for the city, I can speak for hours about what Bombay's problems are, what the challenges are. What we have led to is a very close public-private partnership with the state government. And our initiative is supported by not only our government, but the state government, or the Prime Minister's office, but the President of the World Bank himself. The World Bank has been supporting our initiative. They've done studies here. And I think you're attending the meeting in Delhi on Monday? Yes. There's part of the World Bank. So if you talk to the World Bank, they'll tell you how they've done. We work here, we support something called Mumbai Transformation Support Unit. They are making a presentation on Monday in Delhi. They will tell you how this public-private partnership works. So I think I'm sure there are other people who want to take your, yeah. But I would like to see how we can take this forward. Maybe we could have a conversation afterward. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for your comments. When I heard that you are the president of Bombay First, I of course recalled the London First initiative, very well known all over the world and mostly in Europe, which at that time was a kind of innovative, because it was a way in which the private world and the civic world was involved in the political vision, or I would say, once the political vision, once you haven't got political vision, you go to the duel where you can really take some vision to put the city forward. We tried to do the same thing in Barcelona. We have our strategic plan organization, our metropolitan strategic plan organization, thanks to which we have our strategical goals set, which are based on general consensus. I think that organizations like yours, working with us, politicians in this case, generate the level of general consensus that we need to make things become real. Otherwise, everything is impossible. Now, you said very wise words about the fields in which we can cooperate. Water and waste management are some of our specialities. You are right. You talked about tourism before. I think we are the first port in the world, putting apart the ones that are in Florida. There are 3 ports in Florida: Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and another I can't remember now. But the other one, the first one in the world, the first non-American cruise port in the world is Barcelona. There are conditions that we could share in a certain way, or there are ideas that we could share. And yes, the smart city movement is also very, very important. I am the president, in fact, of the Smart City World Congress, and I'm going to be very happy to share with you the way we work the things out in Barcelona, and why not having a Smart City World Congress, the Mumbai chapter, one way or another. If we agree on that, it will depend on us, not in anyone else. Smart City can be the hollowest and the most empty concept that you can put on a table. You say smart city and there's nothing. But when you see what our cities are nowadays, I call these places obsolescent factories of living, you then understand that we need hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, of rupees, of euros to improve the quality of life of the people, provided that we are able to generate a business model that has to be sound for the companies like yours that have to invest in there, but a business model that has to be sound socially speaking. And that's what our great-grandparents did in my city. We are the first city in Europe having generated the water company, the Barcelona Water Company. I was in Barcelona. The Barcelona Water Company was created by the City Hall of Barcelona because the City Hall understood at the time, 1870-something, that if they provided with good water the poorest families, even the poorest families would pay something for it. It can never, if it was for free, no one would value it. But everybody had to pay for it. And thanks to that, Barcelona has got nowadays perhaps one of the best water systems in the world and one of the best companies, because then we privatized the company. The company now is mostly owned by the, I think it's 6% share of GDF, that's the France, and 40% share of the Catalan, the La Caixa Savings Bank. Or, for example, our gas company is exactly the same case. Created in 1890 with the same example. Gas had to arrive to as many households as possible. Always making sure that everybody received that, but everybody had to pay for it. Then you don't have to expect levels of return of EBITDA like the ones you have when you are pumping the bubble brick. No. That's something that we are not interested in. Spain did horrible mistakes. Europe did horrible mistakes. America did horrible mistakes related to thinking that the casino way of making business related to brick. You understand what I mean when I talk about brick bubble, huh? Is it, yeah, really? Real estate bubble. When you pump the real estate bubble, you make lots of people rich today and hundreds of thousands of poor people and let down people in the medium run. So we got rid of it. Barcelona is not dependent at all on the brick bubble, on the real estate. We are only dependent on the industries related to serving people, to managing the city. That's a future revolution. And if you put smart devices in that, of course, then you increase the level of payback. And finally, what I want to say is that yes, we're working very closely with the World Bank. By the way, the World Bank has got lots of Indians working there. And the most prominent Indian working in the World Bank is Abha Shishirani. Abha Shishirani is the director of the World Bank Institute. She's a wonderful person. She's the one that has pushed me. Abha Shishirani, I know you know her. She was in Barcelona, she was in Singapore also. And she's the one that pushed me, saying, you have to go to Mumbai, whatever you have to, but you have to be there. Mumbai and Barcelona have to go there. So I'm here because one of your national mates, and I'm very happy to be here with you today.
Thank you. It goes to show that behind every successful man, there's a woman pushing him. Go ahead, and thank you for that. Next question. I also have some exhibitions. Barcelona is very good in exhibitions. Yeah, any cooperation there? Yes, sir. He's an industrial development bank.
Honorable Deputy Mayor, actually I represent I am at the Industrial Development Bank of India, which is the neighboring tower next to the center one. But my question is different. It's not to do with the finances and development. You see, as I see it, the biggest burden on a city's infrastructure is the population. And population is basically two types. You talked of slums development and all, and you've achieved a lot in Barcelona of converting slums into fascinating places. So, what problems we face in India, one of them is very prominent. It is the population is two types. One is the poverty or the poor people who are per se from, say, Mumbai. And the bigger problem is the transient population. Now for better prospects, better jobs, there would be population moving within the country from one province to, say, Mumbai. So when you make infrastructure, it is for a certain number of population in 2030. But this infrastructure is not going to be good enough in, say, 2020 because the population is increasing. So I just wanted to request you to throw some light on what are you doing to control the transient population, say from Madrid. A lot of people move to Barcelona, so naturally the infrastructure is going to get strained. So that part, how do you take care of that? Inter-province movement of uncontrolled population.
Well, that's a very good question, and that would deserve, I think, a real lecture. We don't have the kind of challenges that we're not facing the kind of challenges that you face. You just have to have a ride through Mumbai to understand how serious are the challenges that you are facing. So forgive me if now I talk as if I were giving an advice to you, because I'm not meant at all to advise you. I want to be very humble. I'm just going to explain to you a story. It was around 1960 when the second industrial revolution hit hard Spain, in the best sense of the word. But it hit hard in the places in which you already had industrial activity: Madrid, Barcelona, Bilbao, the most important cities of Spain. Barcelona, in fact, Barcelona is the capital city of a region called Catalonia. My region called Catalonia doubled the population in 20 years. So we had to face problems as serious in our proportion. Your proportion is much bigger in our proportion as the ones you're facing. The only thing I think was really well thought is that, putting apart that we had lots of social problems, people in command thought 40 years in advance. So, as I said before to the Bombay First representative, someone was thinking 30, 40 years in advance. So, all the urban plans, all the services solutions that were put in place were mainly thought 30, 40 years in advance. It is now that we have to update the mathematics. It is much easier because now we haven't got the pressure that we would have had. Is those services that were built when I was born 50 years ago now had to be not only reshuffled, but had to be put in place as a novelty. So what I would do is, provided that you know that people is moving, provided that you know that people is going to settle around Mumbai, what I would do, what I would try to help you doing is making sure that all the investments that are made think 50 years in advance. I'll put you an example. In 50 years' time, no, not in 50 years' time, in 20 years' time, all the people that are in this room are going to drive electrical vehicles. Be sure of it. And I'll tell you more. In 15 years' time, most of the public transportation It's going to be not underground, but it's going to be sort of on the surface transportation, and it's going to be electrical, which means that we will have very big means of transportation on surface that will take us out from the private vehicle. So start thinking about reducing, and I know that saying this in Mumbai might be a bit dangerous,